Joining me now is esteemed geologist Professor Ian Plimer. Ian, the Smart Energy Council CEO appeared on Sky News with Kieran Gilbert and he sought to fact-check opposition leader Peter Dutton's claims. Let's have a look at the clip the Smart Energy Council tweeted itself, which was also shared by Minister for Climate Change and Energy Chris Bowen.
No other country in the world can keep the lights on 24/7 with the renewables only policy.
Where in the world has that? Just one?
Oh, there's Costa Rica, for example, 100% renewables, right? There are plenty of examples globally and here in Australia, right?
We know that the government has a renewables only policy which is just not fit for purpose.
The state of Tasmania is entirely powered on renewable energy. Actually, the ACT, 100% renewable energy, day, night, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Costa Rica, plenty of examples globally, we're told. Tasmania, ACT. Ian, do you care to fact-check the fact-checkers?
Well, you've got to understand he's got his snout in the trough and he's talking his own book. Now, Costa Rica, you could not in any way compare with Australia. It is not a G20 industrialised country. You cannot have an industrialised society without baseload power that comes from gas or coal or nuclear. That is a fact. The second thing is to look at Tasmania. Well, there is a cable going from the mainland to Tasmania because quite often Tasmania doesn't have enough power and they have to back up with diesel.
Oh.
There are times when there's not enough rainfall in Tasmania and they can't run their hydro. So Tasmania sometimes exports power to the mainland and quite often imports power from the mainland. So that is absolutely wrong. And to look at Canberra, I mean, really, Canberra doesn't generate any of its own electricity. It gets its electricity from New South Wales, the bulk of which are coal-fired power station power going into Canberra. Now, I admit there are times, milliseconds, perhaps minutes, there are times when Canberra and South Australia and Tasmania might be running 100% on renewables. But what the people don't seem to tell us is that the sun doesn't shine all the time and the wind doesn't blow all the time. We've had wind droughts that have killed off renewables and we still get more than 60% of our power from coal. So that is blatantly misleading. And then to claim that it's cheap. There is no country in the world where renewables are cheap. The only good thing about renewables is that the subsidies keep renewing and going to those promoting them. But we, the poor taxpayer and consumer, just have to keep coughing up. It's certainly not clean energy because when you look at the amount of filth that is generated in China to develop wind turbines and to build these solar panels using slave labour, that is not clean. It's certainly not environmentally friendly with the amount of wildlife and forest lands that we kill. And as for being reliable, pull the other one. So I think these people are absolutely panicking because all of a sudden we have a decision that has been made to give us cheap, reliable, 24/7 power.
And the activist class, including much of the media, seem to be in some sort of a meltdown over this debate even occurring. They're terrified that the Australian people will have a choice, that will have options come the next election. And I'm not sure if you've seen this piece in The Guardian that says Dutton's nuclear plan will be an economic disaster that would leave Australians paying more for electricity because, because nuclear is the most expensive form of electricity. But Ian, this isn't the experience in many parts of the world. The French pay less for electricity than the Germans, who went down the renewables path very strongly. And in Finland, electricity prices dropped dramatically when the new nuclear reactor was connected.
Well, if you read The Guardian, you deserve to be misled. So I haven't seen it in The Guardian because it's something I don't read. But we do know the official figures in this country to generate electricity from gas, and there's the AMO figures, is 59 cents a kilowatt hour. The CSIRO report says that to generate electricity from nuclear is 31 cents a kilowatt hour. So the numbers are in and the facts don't lie. So we have a global example right across the world. Countries that have got nuclear have cheaper power. But what people don't seem to realise is that it is reliable. You have one decent hailstorm and you've wiped out solar power. All the panels get destroyed. A hailstorm with a nuclear power station does nothing. And what people should understand is that one atom of uranium produces 20 million times as much energy as burning one atom of carbon. So if you want to have a small fingerprint, if you want to be energy efficient, and if you want 24/7 cheap, reliable power, nuclear is the only option.
Now, Mike O'Connor wrote in the Courier Mail that Anthony Albanese has unseated Greens leader Adam Bandt as loony in chief because of his anti-nuclear barrage of bull dust. He also wrote, when it comes to insulting the intelligence of Australians, the decision to suggest that nuclear power would result in three-eyed koalas was right up there with the best and a spectacular own goal. All the PM and his genius advisors managed to do was to convince all reasonable-minded folk that if the government was prepared to go to such extraordinary lengths to demonise nuclear power, then there must be some merit in the proposal. When compared to the Labor Party, suddenly the Greens were looking like moderates. I'm sure Adam Bandt will see that as a challenge to step up his game. But on a serious note, Ian, are you surprised by the tactics employed by the senior ministers here and the Prime Minister? They really have gone nuclear, excuse the pun, with the scaremongering, with the hyperbole. It's not an approach you would expect from the government as serious politicians, serious adults determining our country's future.
Well, I think Mr Dutton's announcement of nuclear caught the government napping. They didn't consider that such words could come out of an opposition leader's mouth. And they are performing and behaving exactly the same as they did with The Voice. They do not accept reality. They treat the electorate as stupid. They exaggerate. They have absolute meltdowns. And people are not falling for this. People know that electricity is very expensive because we pay for it. People know that there are other areas in the world where electricity is cheaper, and that is nuclear. So I think the Labor Party has totally and absolutely misread the electorate. They did it with The Voice. They're doing it again. And rather than engaging in constructive argument, they're screeching like spoiled brats.
I've only got 30 seconds, but your thoughts on Matt Keane and this new appointment, is that going to be a game changer?
Well, it's not going to be a game changer at all. He's been a joke for a long while. And it's a case of birds of a feather flock together. He's always been in the wrong party. And he now is that wonderful public face, which will be forgotten in years to come, because he will bring down the opposition policy and he'll go with it. So I think it's a wonderful appointment. It's a 2-in-1. It will get rid of Keane and it will get rid of Mr Bowen. So I'm surprised that he was in the Liberal Party for that long and wasn't thrown out. And I think the electorate of Hornsby will now be finally well represented.
Ian Plimer, thank you for your time this evening.